Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Naquam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving, of course, our honor and our glory to Yahweh. By Shema Mashiach, Kumalak Yahushai. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Hamashiach, Kumalak Yahushai. A hearty, mighty Shalom to all of the men of the Lord, the mighty apostles, prophets, teachers, evangelists, ministers who go out there on the highways and byways, doing the work of the Most High, and doing all things for the elect's sake, pushing this truth and magnifying the ministry. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there on the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying. They're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Aquath out there, the sincere sisters out there, holding it down in the households, reverencing their husbands, being submissive, being diligent, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to everybody tuning in live. Salakia, Love Pious, T Sellers. We got Next Israel, Yafei Israel, Yasha Allah Yakad, Salakia, Zabadia Banyamyan, Ancients Knew Why Don't We, Kyoko Banyamyan, Emily Jones, Anthony Knox, True Nation Philippines, Shalom, Nahum Yasha Allah, and everybody else tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing, right? This is the first installment of back-to-back. We're going to do back-to-back cold cuts, Lord willing, through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, right? This first video and cold cut, or live rather, that we want to go into is touching on the way that the world is unfolding right now, the way that the economy is unfolding, the way that inflation and interest rates are skyrocketing and causing confusion on the earth, nations, their economy crippling apart, and the way that the world is spiraling out of control. It stirs us up to remember particular prophecies that we have read and that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai has spoken of old, man. And one of those key prophecies is 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter, that speaks about the collapse of the world and somewhat of a dystopian society that shows what the world will be like a global economic disaster, post-nuclear holocaust, post-societal collapse, martial law, and all of these things will unfold, and they draw nigh on the earth, right? The Most High said, let's go to the book of Sirach chapter 39 first, right? Let's go to Ecclesiasticus. We're going to pull this up, the 39th chapter. Remember, the Most High said that he has spirits created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes, and the time of destruction, right? I'm not going to, quote it word for word. We're going to actually pull it up, right? Let's go to Ecclesiasticus, the 39th chapter. We're going to talk about it. Here's what the Most High said. Now, these spirits are always unleashed, right? They're always sent out. These spirits actually that we're about to read about are sent out on a daily basis, right? And there'll be so much more sent out in these last days on a high level, right? Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 and 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes, and the time of destruction. And this is the time we're living in. We're living in the time of destruction. We're living in the time of the destruction of your economy, the destruction of morals, the destruction of infrastructure, the destruction of peace. So destruction is manifold. So in the time of destruction, they pour out their force, right? So they have power given to them by Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai to exert on flesh, to manipulate the nature, the elements. You understand? Wild beasts, they have been given a particular power to do things to man, and the earth delight, so that they pour out the force given to them and appease the wrath of him that made them. So the Most High has wrath built up due to the wickedness of the earth. When you go to Genesis, the 6th chapter, the Most High gives you somewhat of what was going on, or somewhat of how he feels the earth is right now based off of what was going on during the time of Noah, right? Let's go to Genesis chapter 6 and 5. Right, let's read that. And the Most High saw the wickedness of man, that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So what do you think the Most High did during the time of Noah? He flooded the earth, man. And they say drowning is the worst way to die, or top three, man. People that experience drowning and they kind of survived, or waterboarding. That's why they do that in the government, man. You know, CIA in particular, they'll do that in these different FEMA camps and stuff like that. There's a torture device called it's like a torture mechanism. It's not a device, right? It's a procedure they go through to simulate drowning, right? If you don't know what it is, you can look it up, right? To put the wet towel over your face and lean you back and pour the water on your head. And, you know, people that go through that, man, even the toughest guys, they start crying and they tap out. So drowning is not like, a lot of people think about Noah and the ark and they just think about, okay, it rained and it was a flood. No, people suffered horribly, miserably, man. Think about it. People trying to climb and escape the flood, climbing on top of trees, but they can't climb on top of the tree. They slipped on the rock. People running for their life to get to the high places. So that flooding, man, and it wasn't like a light drizzle. People got caught out there, man. Why? Because every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. People thinking right now how to commit all types of lewdness, man. Molestation, wickedness, sodomy, freakism, sorcery, idolatry, rebellion, war, mischief. So the Most High has to cleanse the earth. Remember, water is a cleansing agent. Fire is a cleansing agent. These elements come into play when the Most High has to cleanse the earth of its wickedness. So here's the state of why the Most High has these spirits to appease his wrath, because every imagination of the thoughts of man is off right now, man. So this is what this means in Ecclesiastes 39:28. Appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hell and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. So you have wildfires, you have volcanic eruptions, you have fire from missiles, you have fire from bombs, you have crossfire, people get shot, you know, you have hailstorms, you have famine, you have death. All these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts, scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. So as the Most High breaks these economies down and the world plummets into gross darkness, this is a direct result of the inhabitants of the earth committing nothing but wickedness. And the Most High is purging the earth by sending these spirits out. Right, let's go to Psalms chapter 78 and 49. These are the spirits that will be prevalent on the earth as we go to 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. And they're going to cause that. Right? They're going to cause this type of society that we're going to draw nigh into. Psalm 78 and 49. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and trouble by sending evil angels among them. So there are evil angels sent out from the left-hand side of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to wreak havoc on the earth. Right? Let's go to the book. Just had another precept in my mind. Lord willing to come back to me. But the Most High has these evil angels that are sent out. And I want to pull this up real quick. Lord willing, that precept come back. But this is what you're looking at right now. I had two things I want to go into. Global economy is perilously close to recession in 2023, World Bank warns. And I believe this is, I wanted to get the date on this. I had the date. They may show it later, right? But or as we scroll down. If you've been watching and paying attention, a lot of these top men who deal with the supply chain, who deal with the economy, you know, they're actually forecasting, which they do deal with forecasting, what the world will be like, you know, a few months from now, man. There's a lot of layoffs on the earth right now, predominantly in tech companies. So a lot of Facebook, SAP, IBM, a lot of these tech companies are just cutting people down, man. Over 40,000 here, people at Amazon getting cut off. There's a lot of job cuts going on in these days, man. So the world and the state that it's in right now, even Esau put out there his doomsday clock, it's drawing nigh to annihilation. 90 seconds till midnight. The global economy is perilously close to a recession in 2023. And you may say, well, hold on. There was a recession in the 80s. There was a recession in the 90s. There was a recession in 2008, 2009, and they always bounce back. But guess what, man? The days that you're living in now, things are, the Most High is opening up a wound that will not be healed. And even if things seem as though they're bouncing back, the debt that Babylon the Great is in is capping out. The society is continually falling apart. So no matter what they're telling you on the so-called news, things are getting better. We had this many jobs in 2022 and unemployment rate has decreased and whatever. The Most High still has these spirits out here to wreak the havoc on the earth, right? So I want to jump down to this. I'm going to read a little bit of this, and I want to go to 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter, right? I believe this was posted before January 1st, sometime in December, right? The global economy could face a recession and one of the weakest paces of growth on record in 2023. According to annual projections released Tuesday by the World Bank Group, following a year of accelerated inflation, worsening financial conditions, and Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The World Bank, a US-based organization that provides loans and grants to various countries pursuing capital projects, warned the global economy, and here's what they quoted, perilously close to falling into recession, and its annual global economic prospects report on Tuesday. So they're coming out and telling you what the deal is. And a lot of this stuff is controlled, but it's also really the hand of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, who's breaking this place down. There was a time when Esau, when Babylon the Great was booming, man. There was a time when they were the top economy. There was a time when they were flourishing. But now the Most High has them spiraling down the drain. And whatever the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is, it's going to be done. And we're actually praying that this economy goes down the drain. We're praying that there are more job cuts. We're praying that this society breaks apart, man. We're looking to the end of this thing. Right, let me get that in the book of Proverbs. Right, let me get that precept. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua said, there is an end. Right, I believe that's Proverbs, the 28th chapter. Right, bear with me. Let's go to the book of Proverbs. Because a lot of brothers, it's like, let me get out of this. So they always want you to pay for something. Salaki, bear with me. Okay, I want to get this precept. This is Proverbs chapter 23, and yeah, that's what I want, 23 and 18. All right, so Salaki, let me pull this up. This Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 18. Here's what the Most High said. Everything has a beginning, everything has an end, right? Man, beast, you understand, trees, creeping things, fowls of the air. Proverbs chapter 23 and 18. For surely there is an end, and thine expectation shall not be cut off. See that? So the Most High said, and really you got to get to read this previous verse. Let not thine heart envy sinners, but be thou in the fear of Yahweh all the day long. Why? Because the Most High tells you why. A lot of brothers or sisters, you envy sinners, man. You're looking at people at your job prospering. You're seeing people, you know, they may drive past you in a Tesla or a Benz or a Jaguar, and, you know, you're at the bus stop or you really don't have that. You know, people are talking about what they're buying, and you see people with nice clothes or, you know, eating good food and traveling, and you want those things, man. But those people are prospering because they're going to hell off, man. They're working on the Shabbat. They're selling their soul. They have no morals and integrity, but you're just looking at the materialistic things they have, and you want that for yourself, and you become envious, and you want what they have. The Lord said, let not thine heart, meaning your mind, envy sinners. You should just be focused on fearing the Most High. The Lord said, why? For surely there is an end. So surely, meaning without a shadow of a doubt, all of these sinners that you're envying, they're going to get put to death. There's an end to that prosperity. And it's beginning now. The Most High is breaking this economy down. He's breaking this society down. So why are you envying sinners when the Lord has an end for them? There's no end for the elect. The Lord said we're a world, if we're part of that number, we're a world without end. The days of Israel are innumerable. Let me get that in Ecclesiasticus chapter 37. Right, let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 37, and then I'm going to go to verse 25. Right, so the days of the wicked, if you're wondering and trying to figure out how to still make it big in this society, and you're envious at the wicked, you got to check your spirit, man. Even David said that. David said, and I'm going to get that real quick too, in Psalm 73. First, let me get this. Sirach 37 and 25. The days of the life of man may be numbered, but the days of Yasha are what? Are innumerable. Meaning you can't number our days. But the days of the wicked, they're numbered. There's an end. The Lord has it down to the exact millisecond when they're going to get cut down. Let's go to Psalm chapter 73. Right, so you got to check your spirit. If you have that covetous spirit, you got that spirit when you want what everybody else has. You want their cars, you want their positions, you want what they're wearing, you want what they're eating. You got to check that, man. Say, hold on, man. I'm going to hell off, man. I'm going to hell off. I'm supposed to be focused on this place going down. Psalms chapter 73 and 1. Truly God is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart, meaning brothers and sisters that are sincere, right? Their mind isn't defiled. They truly want to serve the Most High. There's no ulterior motives. The Most High is good to those people. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. So David said, I almost got caught slipping, right? I was tripping, man. That's what he's saying. Doesn't mean his feet were actually going off his body. You look down, oh, where's my feet? My feet are gone. Lord, what? No, right? His feet almost being gone. I was tripping, man. I was bugging out. Damn, what the hell was I on? You got to know the spirit of why these words are being written. Can't read the Bible like an old nasty white man. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My step, no, man. Hey, David is an Israelite, man. He's a Judite. He's not. This is a parabolic. It's hip talk. My steps had well nigh slipped. So why did David say he was tripping? For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. See that? So sometimes even the mightiest man, they can kind of get caught up in looking at how the wicked are prospering and then kind of want what they have. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. So it seems like they'll never go down, but the Most High will take them down. Man. And when you read the rest of this psalm, which is a beautiful psalm, David, the Lord put the spirit on him to recover his understanding and understand why they were set up. So we're going to go, what I want to pull this up to. This was another one. Why a global, now this is from November, but I had it pulled up, right? Why a global recession is inevitable in 2023, right? Now, everybody, the top analysts that, like I said, that deal with supply chain, that deal with sourcing and demand, right? That deal with the, particular systems, they understand that this place is not what the world is trying to make it out to be. They know that something bad is going down. It's about to go down. Why a global recession is inevitable in 2023. The world is reeling from shocks in geopolitics, energy, and economics, right? Like I said, I'm not going to read this whole article, but I want to jump down. I'm going to read a little bit for sake of time. I may not read it, right? But when you go deep into this, they actually give you the breakdown about why things aren't going to go back to normal, right? If you're waiting for things to go back to normal, then you need to wake the hell up, right? You're living in your own fantasy, some warped out mind, things are only going to get worse. And a lot of brothers get mad when we say stuff like that. You kind of get depressed. That's because you really love this place. Something inside of you really wants to hold on. And you better drive that demon out, or that demon is going to drive you out, man. Right? That demon is going to drive you out. If you don't get rid of that thing inside of you that gets sad and depressed when we talk about the end of the world, and that thing is going to destroy you, huh? You better check that spirit. Right, here's another thing. Okay, and I just simply typed in layoffs in 2023. IBM cut almost 4,000 jobs, misses annual cash target. So IBM cut jobs. SAP, which is out based in Europe, they cut jobs. Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft lay off thousands. Tech companies layoffs in 2023. So it's starting with tech companies, right? But it may increase. We don't know, right? We're going to wait on the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But there's a lot of major layoffs going on, and it's starting with tech right now. And that's really the backbone of this society, man. Everything runs off of the technology produced by these companies. Amazon, IBM, Microsoft, right there, that the foundational infrastructure behind major companies, man. You know, every company deals with some type of for lack of better terms, input or some type of technology from SAP, man. Major companies deal with SAP, man. They have all types of MRP systems and ERP systems used for sourcing, used for demand and buying, raw material procurement. People deal with IBM for different systems of trade to keep warehouses functioning, you know, and all types of stuff, man. Microsoft, right? People deal with pivot tables, Excel to keep algorithms and metrics going. Amazon, the same thing, man. So don't look at this and say, well, I don't know, but is that bad? Hey, a lot of these companies keep this society flourishing. Like the Lord said in Sirach chapter 38, they maintain the state of the world. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 38, right? Ecclesiastes chapter 38 and verse 24. Major corporations that deal with fulfillment centers, warehouses that store goods, the storehouses use that technology. So when the prophecy says in 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and 22, the 4 storehouses shall suddenly be found empty, a lot of that breakdown is going to come with these tech companies. A lot of these corporations have contracts with these tech companies, man, to have systems to regulate their corporation. Believe it or not, man. And SAP is one of those major ones. That's a hot thing, man, for corporations to regulate their systems. You know, IBM, all of that, man. This is Sirach chapter 38, and I want 34, if I'm not mistaken. Ecclesiastes chapter 38 and 34. But they will maintain the state of the world, and all their desire is in the work of their craft. So these corporations and certain people, their job is to maintain the state of the world. They keep the world flourishing. When you read earlier in this chapter, the Most High speaks of potters. He speaks of blacksmith. He speaks of all of these different people that have these minuscule jobs, you know, that are overlooked, but their job is to maintain this world, keep the society flourishing. So if they begin layoffs and they break down and they cut down and there's no more of that, then there's no more nothing else, because they're the backbone behind that. So tech companies with layoffs is pretty much a big deal, man. You know? And then that's going to trickle down into all of these corporations. And they're not going to be able to maintain the state of the world, man. All these fulfillment centers, warehouses, storehouses, these things are going to slowly collapse, deteriorate, and break down. And it's going to lead to the complete collapse of this society. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 19. Right? Let's go to Isaiah the 19th chapter. Right? And all of these prophecies link up. Right? There's a chain of precepts that link up for the prophecy. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 19 and verse. I'm going to start at, see this whole chapter. I love Isaiah the 19th chapter, man. It's a beautiful chapter. Isaiah 19 and 11. Surely the princes of Zoan are fools. The counsel of the wise counselors of Pharaoh it's become brutish. How say ye unto Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of ancient kings? What does this mean? Is this talking about actual Egypt? No, it's talking about Babylon the Great. And the Most High is mocking Babylon, saying that the men that have these degrees and supply chain that went and spent $150,000 for an education in the university, and they're well studied with all these certificates, and they're supposed to have the answers, but they don't have the answers, man. Nobody has the answers to keep this world afloat. It's spiraling down the drain, and nobody can do nothing about it. So the Most High is mocking the men that's supposed to have the answers, man. Every society has counselors and wise men that deal with economics. They study geopolitics, right? They study all of these things, man, but they can't seem to come up with an answer to stop the world from collapsing. Let's read on. And the Most High is mocking them. Where are they? Where are thy wise men? So why is there a global recession? Why is it inevitable in 2023 if Esau is supposed to have all of these top men? Supply chain analysts, right? People that deal with inventory, people that deal with the system, the imports, the guys that run these ports. How come these guys don't have the answers, man? The department of so-and-so for the government. Nobody seems to be able to stop the will of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, because you can't. The Most High is touching the earth. There's not a damn thing you could do about it. Why? Because there are spirits. We read that in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 39. There are spirits working on the minds of these devils, causing them to make the worst decisions they can ever make. Blocking a mind from having an answer, because they used to have answers back in the 1930s. They used to have answers in the 1940s and in the late 1800s with the Industrial Revolution. They used to have big ideas, man, and big plans. But the Most High got demons on them, blocking a mind from summoning up those ideas and conjuring up that intelligence. Now he's driving a mind back into confusion, and they're making horrible decisions. And that's why that global debt ceiling is increasing. And again, the society is just going down. That's what Isaiah 19, that's what we're going into right here. Isaiah 19 and 12. Where are they? Where are thy wise men? So where's your top economist at? And let them tell thee now, and let them know what the Lord of hosts hath proposed upon Egypt. Right? The princes of Zoan are become fools. The princes of Noph are deceived. They have also seduced Egypt, even they that are the state of the tribes thereof. So you have top men in Babylon the Great seducing Egypt, telling you things ain't going to be too bad. We'll bounce back from this. The unemployment rate is really, not that bad. The society is really kind of bouncing back. But they don't have the answers. Now here's the point. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. So there's an actual demon. That's what a perverse spirit is. It's just a demon. There is a demon sent out from the Most High God to come into Babylon the Great and work on these top men, work on their minds, to influence them and persuade them to do things to cause a self-destructive economy. That's what this is talking about. Don't you know the scripture saying Proverbs 21 and 1, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord? Let me get that real quick, and I'm going to go back to that. The Lord said the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, man. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will, paraphrasing. Proverbs 21 and 1, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So this is the will of the Most High, to put your mind in subjection. Let's go to Proverbs 19, right? Proverbs chapter 19 and 21. There are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord, that shall stand. So no matter what Esau has going on, or these places on the earth, the Most High's will be done. Let's go back to Isaiah 19. So there's an actual demon. Now, can you see the demon? Can Esau see it? No, but it's here and it's prevalent and it's working mightily through the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Let's read that again. And Esau don't know this. We know why the place is going down. We have more answers than Esau's top supply chain experts, man. Than his top economists with degrees in what's that, macroeconomics and micronomics or whatever Esau got going on, man. You know, political stuff. We know more than them because we know why the place is going down. Now, a lot of you may have brothers in the truth saying, well, where's Joseph at? Right? We need another Joseph. Maybe he can get this place back right. Well, there's not going to be another Joseph. This is not 4,000 plus years ago. Oh, maybe Joseph, he could come out and help the president kind of get right, and maybe he'll come up with a plan. There's no Joseph. There's not going to be any Mordecai. There's nobody that's going to help this place, man. Well, wasn't Daniel the third president? Maybe there's another Daniel that can step up and run. No. And if that's your mind, you're going to be destroyed. If you're an Israelite and you're looking for another Joseph to save this modern day Egypt, like ancient Egypt, your mind is bad. Your mind ain't right, man. We're looking for this place to go down. We're not looking for another Daniel to help out with the administration of this society. Because that's what happened in the ancient times. But the Most High got a demon, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. So nobody's going to be doing any work. The top guys to the low-level guys, top CEOs, top CFOs, presidents, vice presidents, corporation heads, to the bottom guy who just is a tip on the pallet jack, man, in the back of a dusty warehouse, or the janitor who comes in at 6 p.m. with his headphones on, buffering the hallway, man. There's going to be no work for anybody. For me, for you, you know? So this place is going to go down, man. That's why the Lord said the sound of the grinding is going to be low. And this mixed up with war that's coming sooner and sooner, this mixed up with disease and famine and food prices increasing is going to lead to these days, man. The days of 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter, right? Let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 16. I'm not going to read the entire chapter. I actually want to jump down to verse, let's see. I'm going to start at verse 15. Right, this 2nd Esdras, chapter 16 and verse 15. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Meaning the Most High, his judgments are here and they're not going anywhere. Like we brought up, there won't be a bounce back. America's not going to return back to the so-called good old days. Like we always talk about, it's not going to turn back to the Leave It to Beaver days, the Brady Bunch days, right? The damn what show is that, man? I can't even think of the name of it, man. The days where the so-called white man was in prosperity. Coming in the house with the briefcases. Saying, honey, I'm home, man. And drinking a glass of scotch. While their son is running around with the damn cowboy hat on, man. Playing cowboys and Indians in the room. Right? And his daughter's doing piano practice. Those days are over, man. And the white woman got an apron on, taking an apple pie off the windowsill. Those days are over, man. And the milkman coming around. If you're looking for the milkman to come back, your mind is bad. I wonder what it was like to have a milkman. Right? Where's the milkman at? And you want that little boy riding that bike and he throw the paper. Extra, read all about it. And the land at the welcome mat. Those days are over, man. Esau's on meth. They're fighting to reproduce They're building sperm banks, in vitro fertilization clinics. They're making Edomites on a Petri dish because there's so few left on the earth. They're calling upon the spiritual demon Satan just to push forth another Edomite baby. And there was this Edomite woman actually protesting, begging the men not to be a sodomite anymore. Let me see if I can find that. Let's see. White woman protesting for more white babies. I don't know if this is going to pop up the way I want it. Okay. I can't find it. But there's this Edomite woman who's actually protesting that they can stop being sodomites and keep reproducing, man. You know? Because they know they have a negative birth rate. They have a negative birth rate. It's going down the hill, and there are Edomite women out there begging that their men stop being sodomites so they can reproduce. So this society is finished, man. This place is done. Let's go back to 2nd Esdras 16. Let me read this again. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer, returneth not backward. Even so the plagues that be sent upon earth shall not return again. So it's over. There's no bounce back. There's no make America great again. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? So Ezra, he saw himself. He actually saw the future, and he saw the state of the world. And it was nothing sweet. It was not nice. He said, woe is me. And he's a man of the Lord. A mighty man of the Lord, a ready scribe, a prophet, a priest, a leader. And he said, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? So what kind of days are these going to be? When even a mighty prophet, priest, one of the elect, a scribe, a teacher of the law, a man of God, would even say, who will deliver me in those days? So we looking at this and we're reading and say, well, damn, what's going to happen? If Ezra said, who will deliver me in those days, where are we at? Where is our mind at, man? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. Yeah, a lot of these people going to start committing suicide, man. Sorrows is depression, sadness, mournings. You have already these guys during the Great Depression committing suicide, man. Let's see if I can pull that up. Great Depression. They might not. Let's see if I can pull this up. See that? Look at this. The Great Depression. Isn't depression mourning? Isn't the Great Depression, what the scripture says, like, let me go back to it. Sorrows. Those are synonymous terms. Let's see. The Great Depression, for example, was associated with the U.S. age standardized suicide rates markedly by 20. Associated with U.S. Increasing. That's what I missed the word. So suicide rates increasing markedly by 22.8% from 18 per 100,000 in 1928 to 22.1 per 100,000 in 1932. Right? Now they say wars have led to declines in suicide because more Edomites dying in the wars. Right? How did the Great Depression affect suicide? Hey, these guys gonna be jumping off the top of buildings, man. You know, these corporate Edomites gonna take their Joseph A. Bank Men's Warehouse tie, and these guys gonna open up the that office, man. And see these guys hung up from the fire was at the sprinkler. You know, they're going to lose their mind, man. The largest, and a lot of these Edomites love going to work, man. They love being those guys at work. The largest increase in the overall suicide rate occurred during the Great Depression, when it surged from 18 to 22%, the all-time high. So the highest suicide rate is when the economy was at its worst. So people are going to be blowing their brains out, man. You know, people that saved up for their retirement. You got people right now that in Bank of America, they're trying to get their money out the bank. And they're telling them, hey, look, you got to deal with it. We lost your money and it is what it is. Imagine that. All your money saved up. You try to rush. Get your. That's what people are going to do. They're going to rush and try to get their money out the bank. But their money ain't going to be worth the damn thing. And the bank, hey, look, we don't got it. It's gone. You got to deal with it. People going to jump behind them counters and, hey, it's going to be people in them banks, maybe the military or whatever. And they're going to, do things to people. And you have to just put your head down and you got to deal with it, man. So people are going to lose their mind. People have hundreds and thousands of dollars saved up. 401k, pension plans, retirement funds, savings, money in other accounts overseas, under the pillow, under the mattress. And when people don't have, people going to start losing their mind, man. You know? The all-time high in 1932, the last full year of the Great Depression. This increase of 22.8% was the highest recorded for any 4-year interval during a study period. You see that? So everybody's talking about it, man. Look at this. Look at this. What was the leading cause of death during the Great Depression? Suicide mortality peaked with unemployment. Let me read this again in 2 Esdras chapter 16. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. So that's not just talking about you sad and you put your hands in your pocket and kick a rock. This is extreme sadness. People going to rob bars, man, get alcohol, loot, take their anger out on their families. Stress is going to, when people get stressed out, man, they get demons on them. Anxiety, the Most High is going to unleash all of those spirits. So these things are going to happen on the earth. It's not just the ICBM missile that's going to affect the earth. When these economies and the world collapse, there are an untold amount of events that come exactly with it, right? Domino effect. So I want to finish this, right? Suicide mortality peaked with unemployment. So as these layoffs increase and, things get bad, people, they're not going to be able to find a job, man. We read it in Isaiah 19. There should be no work in Egypt. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or branch, it's like a head or a tail, branch and rush may do. So if there's no work, people are going to start losing their mind. Robbing. We can read that in 2 Esdras 15. Stealing. Let me go back to this. And the most recessionary years, 1921, 1932, and 1938, after increasing during the 1920s, mortality due to what? Cardiovascular, renal diseases stabilized in 1930 through 32. So people was having heart attacks, man. Kidney failure. Losing their minds. Look at this, 23,000 people cut them. The Most High did that. The Lord put the spirit on 23,000 people to just get out of here, man. And that's in the 1930s. It's only going to increase. 23,000 when the banks failed. You have more. This is going to increase, man. Doesn't Babylon the Great, then they reach their debt ceiling? Now they say they're going to try to solve that, and which that's a damn band-aid on a damn flood. You trying to stop your global debt by coming up with a policy or whatever, that's just a band-aid on the flood of hell water. You pull that up too. Like we got to go into these current events. U.S. debt ceiling. They said they're going to try to solve it. How worried should we be if the debt ceiling isn't lifted? What is the U.S. debt ceiling, and why can't Congress delay the decision? Right? The U.S. has reached its debt limit. What comes next? So you're looking to, a lot of people are looking to have peace in a society that's over $30 trillion in debt. $31.4 trillion in debt. And if you know how the Federal Reserve works, for every dollar that you get, you owe. You owe money to the Federal Reserve. It's sent to you on interest. It's a Federal Reserve note. It's not actual wealth and money. It's a piece of paper loaned to you as a property of Babylon the Great with an interest rate on it. So for every 100 cent or dollar you receive, you owe. And then you keep racking up and keep racking up and keep racking up. So you don't have no money, man. You're a slave. And in society, Esau enslaves you. That's called tributary. You could conquer a nation and put them in physical slavery, or you could conquer people and put them under tributary. So the Federal Reserve, they have the citizens of Babylon the Great as a slave to money, man. You know? Let's see. The U.S. hit its debt ceiling. What does that mean? I may go through one of these articles. I may not. Let's see. Okay, what is the U.S.? We'll deal with Al Jazeera, right? We're comfortable with Al Jazeera, right? See that? See that? Somebody put GD. Federal Reserve, it's Rothschild's property. Amalek the wicked. Yeah. We can go do a whole lesson on the Federal Reserve, man. Right? But the average Jake, you don't know how, they don't know how money works, man. They don't know how this society works with the system. You got people taking pictures with money doing this on the phone. Yes, I am talking money. Right? That's worthless, man. When you read Genesis, the 13th chapter, true wealth, or the book of Job, what made Abraham and Job wealthy? They had paper money, right? They had gold, they had silver, they had land, they had cattle and livestock, they had slaves, and they had a military. If you have those things, then you're truly wealthy. Even your top celebrities, they don't have that. Right? Genesis 13 and 2. And Abram was very rich in cattle and it's like in silver and in gold. You see that? Cattle, silver, and gold. Let's go to Job chapter 1. Right? Job 1 and 1. Job chapter 1 and verse 1. So I want to get this lock here. Yeah, I want to get this precept, right? Job, I'm going to read 1 and 3. His substance was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the East. Right? So you see that? Job had cattle, she-asses, which means he had land. They all wasn't in a damn dorm room somewhere at your local university, man. They had land to put all these animals on, and people, slaves, to tend to the well-being of these animals, man. To shear them, to water them, to feed them. You know how much manpower you need for 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels. Joe, I mean, I'm just giving a rough estimate as a man that's not mentioned. He would have had to have well over, 500 slaves. Anywhere between 300 to 500 slaves, man, on a rotation that worked shifts. He had gold. So that's true wealth. So this debt ceiling, they don't have true wealth, man. So here's from Al Jazeera. What is the U.S. and Abram had an army. Remember that he had his own personal army. Where's LeBron James' personal army at? Or Floyd Mayweather? Or these guys, the people of the world look up to? Oh man, Jay-Z got money. He got, man, Rock Nation, man. He a billionaire. Kanye West, the rich, he has so and so. Kanye West, he can't afford an army. I mean, Abraham had 318 men. He can afford to take care of those men, feed them, their wives, their children, give them weapons, room and board, train them. He had to have a facility and a space to train these guys, man. He had to have a whole bunch of weapons and what do they call it? An armory. Abraham would have had a whole armory, man. That he had mobile on the go. He had somebody carry all of his weapons of war. So don't think Abraham was just sitting around just circumcising himself, man. So let me read this. What is the U.S. debt ceiling and why can't Congress delay the decision? A default by the U.S. government could have catastrophic effects on both domestic and global economies. That is from the 26th, right? What is that? Is that today? Yep, this is from today. So we're going to read a little bit of this. The United States government hit its borrowing limit last week on January 19th. Salakia. Leading to new... Okay, I got brother sending me stuff. Hold on now. Okay, now. Yep, we put that up. Bank of America, right? Bank of America. It's like they robbing people too. The United States government hit its borrowing limit last week on January 19th, leading to new economic worries at a time when most countries are expecting a slowdown in economic growth. And you can see that happening in Pakistan. If you look up Pakistan economy crisis, they're done, right? They're done, man. The Pakistan rupee plunges as authorities loosen controls to revive bailout. Pakistan staring at loan default, economic collapse. They're going to start losing their mind out there. You can see it already. They're going to start losing their mind. Right? U.S. PAC vows very tough measures to fix economic crisis, pleads U.S. begging for Babylon. This place is finished. They're lusting for Babylon the Great to help them, and they can't help themselves, man. They're lusting for a society that's $31 trillion in debt to help them, and they can't help themselves, man. So this place is finished. I'm not going to go all into it, but their place is done. Future of Pakistan is dark. They're done. They're done. A lot of these societies are just going down the drain. All right, so let me go back to this. I want to go back into the scriptures. Okay, the U.S. administration has already started implementing measures to avoid any default, which could have catastrophic effects on both domestic and global economies. So what is the debt ceiling? The debt limit, also known as the debt ceiling, is the statutory limit for the amount of money the U.S. Treasury can borrow in the form of securities, including bills, saving bonds, to finance existing federal operations. This may include spending by the U.S. government on Social Security and Medicare benefits, or paying salaries and meeting other financial obligations. Right? They're $31 trillion in debt. U.S. debt ceiling was hit on the 19th of January, raising concerns among corporate leaders of a potential political standoff that could come down to the wire and unsettled markets. All right, so we're hoping that this thing spirals and more hell breaks loose, man. I'm not going to read this whole article, right? I'm not going to read this whole article. You can read it on your own. Okay, what happens if the U.S. debt ceiling limit is breached? If the U.S. government is unable to meet some of the critical expenses, such as the payment to bondholders, something that has not happened to date, it would wind up in default, a scenario that would cause irreparable harm to the U.S. economy. See that? That's why 2nd Esdras says what? Let me go jump up a little bit. 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and verse 14. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. So you can't fix it. The Lord got plagues and it's going to be irreparable. You're not going to be able to say, oh, here's this plague from the Most High to break the economy down. Let me package it up, FedEx it, send it back to the third heaven, man. With a return to sender. And it has 777, third heaven, to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and then Michael the Archangel, he get the mail, and he need a box cutter. So Raphael give him a box cutter because he don't want to use his sword. So he take the box cutter open, and this letter that says return to sender. We hear about no, man. There's no damn ship to return to sender. The Lord sent these plagues out, and guess what, man? You gotta deal with it. You gotta deal with it, man. They're not going to return again. The fire is kindled. We read this already. And shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. So let's go back to this. So this would cause irreparable harm to the U.S. economy, the livelihood of all Americans, and global financial stability. So it will cause irreparable harm to the stability of the economy, to our lives as so-called Americans. It reads, and would undoubtedly cause a recession leading to a global financial crisis. Yellen said in an interview with CNN on February 20th. It would certainly undermine the role of the dollar as a reserve currency that is used in transactions all over the world. And Americans, many would lose their jobs. So it's not just going to be tech layoffs, man. It may start off in the tech industry, then it may be the retail industry. You just had the retail apocalypse. Let me pull that up too. Let's see, retail apocalypse. Let's pull that up. See that? Full list of stores hit by the 2023 retail apocalypse. Let's go to the classic. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Actually, I want to get this precept and Sirach the 31st chapter. It's lucky. Let me get this precept. Right? I believe is right. We got a lot of precepts we want to get into the 8th chapter. All right, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 8. I want to get this precept because the Most High has put these things in the Bible, man. Anything that you see happen on the earth was foretold from the days of old, from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 12. Lend not to him that is mightier than thyself, for if thou lendest him, count it but lost. So you got Amalek for the reserve. They loaned money to the Babylonian government. They ain't getting it back, right? Be not surety above thy power. What is surety? Surety is when you pay essentially, or you sponsor somebody's enterprise or their business. So you put money down on something. For if thou be surety, take care to pay it. So any financial situation you in, you better pay it back, man. But Babylon the Great, you can't pay it back. You are in too deep above your power, because this is the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. The Lord have done these things. Now let's go back to this. And let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 31st chapter. Right? Let's go to Sirach chapter 31. So these things are going to happen as this society continually goes down the drain. Right? Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Let's see where I want to start. Chapter 31 and 5. He that loveth gold shall not be justified, and he that followeth corruption shall have enough thereof. And that's how Babylon the Great is. They have followed and lusted after gold, lusted after money. There was a time when Babylon the Great's economy, or the dollar, was actually based off of gold. If you look up an old U.S. So-called dollar, it tells you, let me see if I can find this. Old dollar, let's see, gold. I'll just type this in. Old dollar gold value. No, I don't want this. Let's see, old dollar trade for gold. All right. There was a time, let me see if I can pull this up. You can actually do this, man. Back in the day, but then they kind of took it off. Let's see if I can find it. I may not be able to find it. But there was a note that used to be on a dollar where it said that you could kind of exchange it for gold, right? I may not have time to look it up, but you can kind of look it up on your own. Right? They probably, and then they took it down. They took it down. Right? The golds, I believe that's what it was. Somebody put that on there, gold standard. Right? You see the brother Jake for Life 45. Let's see if this is it right here. So this, let me see. And the most I tell you, I mean, how to deal with money, man. Okay, let's see. It's kind of blurry. I may not have time to really go into it, but you could go to that on your own, and you can see how at one time the dollar used to be backed by gold. Even this article says the U.S. dollar, see that, is no longer backed by gold. So they followed after gold, man. They followed after blood money. See that? The Fed dollar no longer backed by gold. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond, the U.S. dollar is no longer backed by gold. The Richmond Fed's FAQ on gold and silver states in the relevant part, right? The U.S., when the United States stopped selling gold to foreign official holders of dollars at the rate of $35 an ounce in 1971, it brought the gold exchange standard to an end. In 1973, the United States officially ended its adherence to the gold standard. So you could have actually done that back in the day, man. Then they kind of took that away. Then they started doing a cash for gold, right? You give us gold, we'll give you cash. And you have fools giving up all of their gold, man. That was a thing back in the day. All of the commercials, you don't even see them no more. Cash for gold, cash for gold. Everybody taking their damn gold off, mailing it into the so-called white man. And he gave you paper for it, right? The Lord said, he that loveth gold shall not be justified. So all of that lust after gold is one of the reasons why your economy is going down. And he that followeth corruption shall have enough thereof. And that's why your society is corrupted. Your Federal Reserve is corrupted. You have a global debt crisis that is irreparable because you have lusted after these things. Gold has been the ruin of many, and the destruction was present. And there's a so-called picture of the that nasty so-called queen that passed, of her with just bars of gold, just bars and bars. Let's see. Just bars and bars of gold, man. What do you think happened to all of the gold that we had in the temple that Solomon had? They stole it. Gold thrones, gold jewelry, gold crowns, 8 rows, 4-ton stacks, 4 shelves high. 63 karat gold bars. Look at her. Just showing it off. All of the gold they stole, melted it, put it in bars. And that's why your society's going down, Mr. White Man. That's our gold. All of the gold that Solomon had, the golden candlestick, he had the gold laid over this, he had the gold laid over this. There was so much gold that, let me get this in 1 Kings, that it was unaccounted for, man. Right? Let me pull this up. See if I can get this 1 Kings, the 4th chapter. Right? Solomon had so much gold, you really couldn't account for it. Let's see if that's what I want. Maybe 1 Kings, the 5th chapter. I'll just type this in, right? For sake of time. All right, let's go to the book of 1 Kings. So what do you think happened to that, man? The Lord said, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So all of the wealth that we had in our kingdom was translated from one people to another. 1 Kings 10 and 21. And all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver. It was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon. That's mighty. Solomon had no silver. He had not just gold, everything. It was nothing accounted for. You know, that's where Esau get his King Midas from. He came up with that fable, okay, King Midas, everything he touched kind of turned to gold. They got that from Solomon, man. Nothing accounted for. Where's all of this gold that you couldn't even count? Well, Esau, you got it. You stole it. You stole it. Where's that nasty Edomite at? Look at this. Just lust and pride. Let's go back to Sirach chapter 31. Gold hath been the ruin of many, and their destruction was present. Remember, Esau named his son, like we always go into. He named his son Eliphaz. My God is fine gold. Let's go to Genesis chapter 36. Let's prove that. Right? Remember the so-called white man, his first born son. He said, my God is fine gold. Genesis chapter 36 and 10. These are the names of Esau's sons. Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau. Reuel, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau. So when you go into this word in the Hebrew, you go into Eliphaz, because names have meanings, right? What did Eliphaz, or why did Esau name his son Eliphaz? What does Eliphaz mean? My God is fine gold. You see that? So your heart, his mind, Salakia, his heart, his mind has always been to lust after gold. Let's compare that to what the names that Israel had for his sons. Reuben, his firstborn son was Rehoboam, which means behold or look, a son. Simeon, Shemaiwan, right? Loya, Yahwadah, etc. He had all of these sons, and he had spiritual meanings from real life situations, man. The so-called white man had his son. He said, what are you going to name him? My God is fine gold. So his mind not right. Gold, let's go back to this. Gold had been the ruin of many, and their destruction was present. It is a stumbling block unto them that sacrifice unto it, and every fool shall be taken therewith. Blessed is the rich that is found without blemish and hath not gone after gold. Who is he? And we will call him blessed, for wonderful things hath he done among his people. Right? So let's go back to this. So what would happen if they can't repair this debt ceiling? It would certainly undermine the role of the dollar as a reserve currency that is used in transactions all over the world. And Americans, many would lose their jobs, and certainly their borrowing costs would rise, she added. The majority of the world's foreign currency reserves are held in US dollars. And if the US defaults on its debt, the value of the dollar will likely strengthen against other countries, creating ripple effects in other parts of the world. So the world is enslaved to the so-called white man. And if they go down, everybody goes down. Everybody goes down. So let's go back to 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and verse 18. See how much time I got. All right, 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mourning. The beginning of famine. So you're going to have a famine too. Remember, the prices for food are already through the roof. They're only going to get worse. The dollar's going to diminish. Food prices are going to increase, you know, and great death. The beginning of wars. You have Germany, Spain, I believe Belgium, Italy. They're all sending tanks to Ukraine. Germany officially declared war. I believe that was their prime. I don't think it was a prime minister. I can't think of the title of that woman, you know, but she pretty much came out and unofficially said we need to do all that it takes to fight this war on Ukraine. Against Russia. So now all of these other NATO countries, they're sending tanks, fighter jets, and other weapons to Ukraine. So now you're in the stages of the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. You got Donald Trump right now begging to end the war. Hey, these people are scared to death, man. World War III was actually trending yesterday on so-called Twitter. And people were going at you, clicking, and people, they crying, why is the world ending? Then can't we all come together and stop the missiles, stop the war, stop the judge. Hey, you can't stop the judgment, man. Ain't no stop the missiles. If this gets 200 likes, we're going to stop. There's none of that, man. The powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Meaning what? No matter what the Most High do on the earth, men ain't going to take no correction. The Most High is doing this so people could turn from their wickedness. That's what when you amend something, you change it. The Most High is sending famines on the earth, plagues and tribulation and anguish, just so man can realize that they're going to hell off. But they're not going to acknowledge that. That's why it says, but for all these things that will not turn from their wickedness. And not only that, the Most High said they're not even mindful of the scourges. They just think that this is something they could fix. We just made a bad decision, right? Let's do another global stimulus package. They're not going to sit there and acknowledge that this is the hand of God touching the earth. They're not going to sit there and say, this is Yahweh Bashmi Abushai. This is befalling us because we have enslaved the Most High's people. They're not even mindful of the scourges. This is the universe, karma, Mother Nature. You know, the Most High said, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. So it may be a time where you're able to kind of get things and you found a good deal and this 50% off, and you was able to kind of get 2 for 1. You might think things ain't too bad. That's to blind you, because the Lord still going to have these judgments increasing more and more. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So these judgments, I mean, it's no telling how many people this famine is going to kill that's coming on the earth. We pulled up in time past the world's largest, we'll put it like this. Well, I'll put it like this. We pulled up the most destructive famines in human history, man. Some of these famines, they kill like 5 million people. You can look it up. 3 million people, 2 million people in China, Taiwan, Ethiopia, this place, Somalia. So when this dollar go down and the price of food go up and there's no more food that you have access to, it's over. It's over. You're going to die. You're not going to be able to get the food. Right? You're not going to be able to get the food. Now it says many of them are going to perish of famine. You got brothers saying, well, hold on now, there is going to be food and you're just going to have to get this inside of you and you're going to be able to get the food. Well, aren't the majority of the people of the earth wicked? So if the majority of the earth of the people are wicked, when they get a device inside them that allows them to get the food, right? So that's madness, man. Which means there isn't going to be any food, even though the majority of the people are wicked. It's going to be a scarcity of food, not food that, it's the Most High is telling you what the deal is, man. And even if you escape the hunger, you're going to get caught up by the sword, right? So there's no escape. What is the sword? A gun, robbery, damn pistol whip, an actual sword, a knife. You could be fighting a war, get hit by a missile, a RPG, a regular grenade. A sword is nothing but a destructive weapon. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. So this place is done. They're going to have so many dead bodies. They're just going to be cast out like dung. So with all of these dead bodies, you got to think about it. You got to think about the people that maintain the state of the world. You got to think about the people that take the trash, and they put in the dumpster, and they, you got to think about the people that keep the society running, man. Trash is going to increase. People ain't going to be in hospitals. You're going to have people sick, bleeding. How many people go to the hospital every day? I mean, it has to be millions of people, hundreds of thousands, if that are checking into every hospital around the world. And if there's ain't nobody going to be in them hospitals, man, working. People going to be looking to get food. So if people have diseases, they're bleeding out, they're sick, they broke their arm, they got to get something amputated, and they're going to have to deal with it. They're going to have to figure that thing out on their own. People have to learn how to snap stuff back in place, make what they call it, I can't even think of the word, a trunket. You know what I'm talking about, to stop the bleeding. You take the cloth and a tourniquet, if I'm pronouncing it right, and people have to learn how to figure these things out, man. Make a damn sling, rip your shirt off, tie it around your neck, put your broken arm in there, and keep it moving. Ain't no hospitals, ain't no delivery, deep dish, hoagies, stuffed crust, damn chicken nuggets. No Jake, man. You're gonna be caught out there, right? You're gonna have to be caught out there. It's gonna lead to disease, madness. It's gonna be dead animals. You got all these zoos all over the earth. Ain't nobody gonna be feeding these animals. Somebody gonna let them loose. People gonna be eating the food or eating these animals, man, at these zoos. We guarantee that people they're gonna start going to these zoos and start eating whatever they can find. Going to the aquarium. They're busting the glass, man. The splash zone and people gonna do what they gotta do. They're gonna be looking for food anywhere. And a lot of people, they're too, what do they call it? They're ashamed. I won't eat out the trash can. I won't do that. Okay, well, in those days, people are going to be eating out of the trash can. You're going to be eating out the dumpster. Crumbs. When you watch that movie, like we always bring out, this movie called The Road, right? And this is a decent movie, man. They show you this movie, they was eating crumbs off the table in the beginning of the movie, man. This is what you call one of those end of the world movies. I'm not going to tell you the whole movie. If you watched it, you watched it. We brought it up plenty of times. It's about a father and his son surviving the post-apocalyptic world. With a societal collapse. There's no markets, there's no drive-through, there's no banks, no hospitals, right? There's no sports, there's no TV. People are out for themselves, and everybody's looking to survive, man. Yeah, dystopian. That's what the brother Judah Lion put on there. Right? And I forgot about the pet stores. Church of Yahweh Shai 12 put that on there. Yeah, people gonna be in these pet stores, man. The pound. Where all them dogs at? Moab, Ammon, Jake, Esau, they're gonna be in these pounds. You got people saying, oh, don't do that. That's sad. The puppies, the cats, Petco. People's mind, they gonna eat anything. Roadkill. So this movie, man, they actually show you. Hey, yep, you got this Jake. He tried to get him. Kind of rolled up on him. I'm not going to tell you the whole movie. It got so bad. I gotta say this one part. Well, I'm not going to tell you. But they show you in these dystopian movies. Let me just pull that word up, dystopian. Okay, let's get that definition. Dystopian, relating to or denoting an imagined state of society where there is great suffering or injustice. Great suffering or injustice. What are some synonyms? Hellish, gloomy, terrifying, nightmarish. That's why Ezra, he said, woe is me. Woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? Right? Those days will essentially be a nightmare. Gloomy. Hellish. What are 5 characteristics of dystopia? Let's see. Hold on now. Okay, common elements of dystopian fiction. Now they say fiction as if this thing will never happen, right? But this thing is going to be nonfiction. This thing is going to be a reality, right? Include societies engaged in forever wars and characterized by extreme social and economic class divides, mass poverty, environmental devastation, anarchy, and loss of individuality. So you're going to have these things. You're going to have anarchy, environmental devastation with the bombs dropping, social and economic divides, mass poverty. It's all in the Bible. So the earth is going to turn to a dystopian type of place, man. People are going to form their own clans. People are going to have their own deal in their own city, their own type of exchange. People are going to set up kings and rulers for themselves. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. All right, let's go to Isaiah, the 3rd chapter. So things are going to get bad out here, man. That's why we need to be, in His truth, diligent, rooted, and abounding in the work of the Lord. Or guess what? You're going to be caught out there, right? You're going to be caught out there. You got to deal with it, man, because you didn't show yourself diligent in the last days. Right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 3, and verse, I'm going to start at 6. When a man shall take hold of his brother of the house of his father, saying, Thou hast clothing, be thou our ruler, and let this ruin be under thy hand. So what does this mean? Let's read it again. When a man shall take hold of his brother, of the house of his father, saying, Thou hast clothing, meaning you have clothes, you have resources, be thou our ruler. So people that in those days, it's going to be so bad. They say, look, this guy, he's fit to be our ruler because he has clothes. He has a book bag. Make him our king. He has a shopping cart. He has soap. And when you watch that movie, Book of Eli, if you haven't seen the movie, you can check it out on your own. He sold cat grease, cat oil. He sold something, I can't remember what it was, but he used the Edomite. He was lusting after chapstick, man. I think he sold a walkie-talkie or a radio or a Walkman for some chapstick. You had an entire city being ran by Edomite, man, because they controlled the water. They controlled the water supply. So they had everybody in subjection. So the Lord said the earth is going to be so bad, one man is going to go to another man and say, look, you got clothing, you're going to be the new ruler. And let this ruin be under thy hand. We want you to call the shots. And that day shall he swear, saying, I will not be an healer. For in my house is neither bread nor clothing. Make me not a ruler of the people. He said, look, I can't do nothing. This is all I got. I can't run nothing. I don't have no food. I don't have no water. I don't have no clothes. I can't run nothing. So people with nothing, they're going to see people with a little bit of something, and they're going to want them guys to really, be somebody, man. They're going to look up to those guys. If you got a little bit of something. For Jerusalem is ruined and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against Yahweh to provoke the eyes of his glory. So things are going to be extremely, extremely bad in those days. Right? And I'm not going to read this whole chapter, but let's go back to this. Hold on, 2nd Esdras 16th chapter. Okay, 2nd Esdras chapter 16. Actually, let me go to 2nd Esdras chapter 15 real quick. Right? Let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 15, and I want to go to verse 56. Right? To show another account of how horrifying or horrific life is going to be in those days. 2nd Esdras chapter 15 and 56. Like as thou hast done unto my chosen, said the Lord, even so shall the Most High do unto thee, and shall deliver thee into mischief. Thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy city shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword of the field. So cities broken down by war, the effect of missiles, destruction, children dying of hunger due to famine, right? No food, of course. Robbery. They that be, look how the earth is going to be. The Most High said, they that be in the mountains shall die of hunger and eat their own flesh and drink their own blood for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. That's how hungry and thirsty people going to be, man. They're going to start eating their own flesh. Brothers ain't never been that hungry, man. That's how hungry these people are going to be in the mountains. And they're going to drink their own blood. Is that a dark saying? Right? Does the blood really represent the blood of the great? Because the blood of... No, man. Does the flesh represent, the beast of the field in Ecclesiastes 3, man and beast? No. That's actual human skin, and that's human blood. People going to be off the grid, losing their mind. Let's go back to this in 2nd Esdras. Right? And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. Like that movie, I Am Legend, Book of Eli. Look at this. Right, you watch those, they kind of give you somewhat of a reality of what's going on. Let's see. I Am Legend. Let me put that up. Right, if you see that movie, you watch all of the wild beasts out there. There was damn wild lions and leopards out there. The grass was overflowing everything. And it was just him out there, him and his beast. Now, all of the zombie, all that stuff, that, that's neither here nor there. The point of the matter is that we're focusing on is the state of the earth. The reduced population, the wild beasts changing their places. That kind of state of the world is what 2nd Esdras chapter 16 is going into. Even the movie Book of Eli, where we kind of talked about it. Let's pull that up. Right, Mad Max, that's another one. See, Book of Eli. All right, so here's that. Now, Book of Eli, Eli in the Hebrew is Allah, which means God. So it's really the book of God, right? When you watch, it's talking about the Bible, right? I believe in the Hebrew, Sapar or Saparka Allah, right? Or Hasapar Allah, if my Hebrew is correct, right? But it's the book of Eli. All right, and you kind of see what's going on, man. So let's go back to this. 2nd Esdras chapter 16 to 24. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripe, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men. So your major cities, New York, LA, Chicago, Philly, Miami, Houston, Dallas, those cities are going to, that population, man. Once this famine kick off, think about all of the people who live stacked up on top of each other in New York City, man. That's going to be a hellhole to be in when all hell break loose. Well, hell, it already take them an hour to leave New York City, man. To literally exit the city from downtown, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour. Maybe 30 minutes on the best day. Imagine people running around losing their mind in Upper Manhattan, Brooklyn, man. People gonna be out doing their thing. LA. These places are going to be desolate of men. People are going to be on the road. They're going to be traveling. So that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. For of a city shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. So people, cities may have 10 to 15 people in it, man, hiding themselves. Maybe bandits, robbing men. We're going to be pilgrims on the earth in these days. When you read on in this chapter, it says, "Oh, my people, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. He that selleth, let him be as he that lose," paraphrasing it. So you may say, okay, well, I know all of this, I see it, but where are we going to be at? Well, remember, every brother is going to have a different lot, right? Every person's not going to have the exact same lot, step by step. During this time, some men, you may have been rounded up and put in a FEMA camp. Some men, you may be living that life on the road, right? A pilgrim on the earth, fleeing, from Esau. Some people may be in security somewhere. The Lord even speaks about that in the book of Job. At death and destruction, thou shalt laugh. Some men may be martyred during this time. So everybody's going to have their own lot. You may be separate from your family. You may not. You know, the Lord even said they shall feed you being idle with things offered unto idols. So some men are going to be constrained, tied up. We don't know our exact lot. All we have is faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. And hope that whatever state that we're in, the Most High is with us, man. And we have hope in the resurrection. So even if we're cut down in the land of the living, we believe that we're going to rise again. We have hope in immortality. So we don't fear death. The Lord said, fear not the sentence of death. Right? For that is the sentence upon all flesh, paraphrasing. So we're not worried about that, man. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. As in an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or as a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so, in those days, there should be 2, it's like 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. So people are going to be, like I said, forming cliques, their own militias, their own, different militaries, man. Robbing people, taking advantage. And if you're a woman, you're not under the protection of the Most High, you're going to be caught out there. Yeah, well, I don't need a man. I got it. Right? I'm an independent black woman. Be an independent black woman in those days. I got it. I don't need no man. So I can do bad all by myself. Yeah, it's not going to be nothing nice for you, man. I don't need no man of the Lord. Okay, you keep thinking like that, man. The Lord said, not saying that single sisters can't make it to the kingdom, right? Because we'll never say that because it's not biblical. But if you're not under the protection of the Most High, you're going to be caught out there. And the earth shall be laid. Hey, look, man, you see these things, man. These guys ain't going to be asking you on a date when all hell break loose. Can I get your number? Can I get your Instagram? Can I walk you to your house? Man is going to go back to that primitive, archaic kind of mind, man. Hitting people upside the head with a damn club, a rock. There's going to be no morals, no laws, no integrity, man. Nobody to hold you back. That's what anarchy is. Or pandemonium. People are going to make their own laws and their own mind. And and morality is going to be at an all-time low. People are going to do things they never thought they would do before. Can't believe I'm doing this. And they're going to do it. People are going to be stealing they never stole before. Taking things. Making sacrifices. Making tough decisions. These days are going to be a day of tough decisions, man. Do I go this way? Do I go that way? Here, you go that way. We'll meet back up. And you never meet back up, man. Is that house abandoned? Is there food in there? I don't know. I kind of saw somebody. That's why, look, we want to be under the shadow of the Lord. Let me get this in Psalms chapter 127. We don't want to fall into the hands of man. Right? We want to fall into the hands of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. For as his majesty is, so is his mercy. And we're not worried about that. Oh, I don't know. But what if there's no food? And the Lord said, my servant shall eat. Right? In Isaiah chapter 65, 13 on down. But ye should be hungry. My servant shall drink, but ye should be thirsty. So we're going to be taken care of, man. Psalms chapter 127. It's like I want Psalms 121. So like it. Right? I'm going to have to wind this down. It's a back-to-back series. So immediately after this, go hop into another lesson, right? Psalm chapter 121 and 1. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from Yahweh, Bashmi Abashai, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. So the Most High is going to lead you on that plain path, right? He's not going to fall asleep and now you're caught destitute and then you get destroyed. Then the Lord wake up and say, what happened? He will not slumber. He's keeping you. He's watching over you. He don't fall asleep like man. Right? Remember the apostles, they were supposed to keep Yahushua, meaning watch over him. The Lord said, what, you couldn't watch for me for 1 hour? And they fell asleep. The Lord is not man. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. And that's the spirit that the men of the Lord got to have. It's our job to be in his garden, to dress it, and to keep it. And we can't be falling asleep, drifting into the world, falling into darkness and other philosophies, looking back into lust and madness. We're made in the image of the Lord, man, and renewed day by day. So we have to be in the same spirit. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Right now, the sun is really talking about the affliction of noonday, right? The judgments that's coming on the earth. Yahweh Bashmi Abashai shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out, so when you're a pilgrim on the earth, and thy coming in, when you want to go, from this time forth and even forevermore. So we're not worried about the destruction coming to the earth because we believe that through faith. We believe these precepts. We have been constantly reaffirmed through the apostles and prophets, evangelists, the men like Jeremiah, the men like David, right? The men like Elijah, the men like Moses, the apostle Paul, Peter, who wrote of these things, man, and spake of these things, and constantly affirmed the sayings of the Lord, that his sheep will be taken care of. So do we fear the evil days that draw nigh on the earth? No. Right now, the Lord said, when you jump down in this chapter in 2nd Esdras, chapter 16 and 74. Hear, O ye my beloved, said the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. So you can't put your head, oh no, I'm discouraged. Oh, that's depressing. I don't like talking about that. That makes me sad. Hey, brother, lift up your head, man, because the Most High told you. You just got to believe this. And you got to pray for that faith, man. That's going to drive you in these days. The Lord said, nevertheless, in Luke 18 and 7 on down, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? The Lord said that for a reason, because a lot of the brothers are going to see so much, experience so many things, and they're going to lose faith, man. The Lord said, oh, yeah, and you got to have these precepts in your mind. You're going to keep you stable. Wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times, and the fear of the Lord is the strength of your salvation. That's Isaiah 33 and 6. So I'm going to read this again. We're going to wind down. Hear, O ye my beloved, said the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide. So you can't be afraid. You got to pray that that fear is driven away from you. That fear is a demon. That's what it is. If you fear flesh, you got a demon on you. If you doubt, doubt is a demon that almost drowned the apostle Peter. And if it wasn't of the Lord's mercy to stretch his hand out, he would be not. So you being afraid of the elements, being afraid of the prophecies, being doubting if you're going to make it, you got to get rid of that demon. Doubt is a cancer. For the Most High is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, said the Lord God. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. So don't be all the pride. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm just wicked. I just went off yesterday. I'll never make it. And don't let your sins weigh you down, brother. And repent, bounce back. And don't be like, well, I'll never make it. I'm just so wicked. I'm going to just keep being wicked. Ain't no point of being righteous. Ain't no point of turning back. And I'm going to just keep driving myself into sin. Hold on, Lord said, hold on now. Let not your iniquities lift up themselves, man. Woe be unto them that are bound with their sins. Meaning that demon got a hold on you, that lust, that pride. It got to bound you up like you were arrested in slavery. Bound up by lust. Bound up by that weed demon. Bound up, man, by that adultery. Bound up by them cigarettes. Bound up by theft and murder. Woe be unto them that are bound with their sins and covered with their iniquities, like as a field is covered over with bushes, and the path thereof covered with thorns, that no man may travel through. It is left undressed and is cast into the fire to be consumed therewith. So with that, I want to close up, giving, of course, all honor and glory to Yahweh. Ba'ashima Mashiach Omalak Yahushai. It's back to back. We're going to close this live, start another one through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. Kwam Yashah. Shalom.